Assalamu alaikum. This lecture is about polymorphism in the context of object-oriented programming. And if you don't know what polymorphism is, then polymorphism is doing one thing in multiple different ways. Doing the same thing, but in different ways. So poly means many. Morph means form. So أشكال متعددة أو many forms. And this way, with the more experience you get in object-oriented programming, you will see that this way of writing code is going to help you a lot. So it's a way of coding generically, which is a great advantage. Ability to use a superclass as array type, a method, parameter, and method return type. What does that mean? So we'll be using arrays or array list of superclasses. However, inside the array, we can put any instance of the superclass or any instance of the subclasses of that superclass. And we will see that methods overridden in subclasses will be executed differently from the methods of the superclasses. Although the same method is being called, however, we will see this in multiple different ways of execution. So let me go to some code now, or let's see here. We have shape, for example. A shape is a superclass here. And you have rectangle, circle, triangle. Shape is a superclass. Rectangle, circle, and triangle are subclasses. So you can make an array or array list of shapes. And the thing that we know in the beginning, that the array is going to contain instances of shape. When we say shape, technically we mean shape or any one of the shape subclasses. It doesn't matter because rectangle is a shape and circle is a shape, triangle also is a shape. So let's see what's going to happen here. So the array is going to be declared of super type. And this will make our code generic. Yani we don't have to create one array for rectangles, one array for circles, one array for triangles. No, we're going to create an array of super type, which is shape. And we will be using the same code for different instances of the subclasses. Let's see here. Our array contains shapes. So in the first place in the array, we have a rectangle, and it has two unique attributes, length and width, and then we have a getArea method. This should be doubled. And here we have a circle. It has also getArea method. Here we have a rectangle or triangle. It has also a getArea method. So our array is going to be an array of shapes with an array of array lists. And inside it, we will put subclasses of that superclass. This is going to help us a lot in writing the code. And the code is going to work whether we use it for circle, for triangle, or for any subclass of the shape. Look here, for example, this code is very generic. I can use shape in it. I don't have to make one method for circle, another method for triangle, and a third one for rectangle. I'll just do one for a shape, and the method will be called, of course, the getArea method. And here is the word polymorphism, where it comes from. Polymorphism here, they say the getArea function or method in the subclass will be working differently from one class to another. So we are having the same area or the same method name. However, during runtime, the method will be executed differently depending on which subclass or class the method is executed from within. So this is going to help us a lot in writing the code. So one method, we get some cost, whatever here, and shape, and we return the area from that shape, and this is going to work for any shape or subclasses of shape. This code is called generic code. يعني مش لازم نكتب different or separate method for each subtype. ما كلهم عندهم get area وكل واحد بينفذ ال get area بطريقته. So this is polymorphism. A shape object is passed. It could be instance of circle or rectangle or any class. حتى ممكن it can be also a return type. يعني it can be a return type. It doesn't have to be only parameter. It can also be what? A return type. Before I continue, let me go and do this example, the shapes example, one of the famous examples here. So let me create a class here, and I will call the class shape. That's it. And the class has one method, public double get area, and it returns 0. This is just a shape. In the next section or next chapter, we will study how to make this abstract class or an interface. So this is just a class called shape. It has one method, get area, and this get area returns what? Returns a double. Tamam. So it can have many other things like get perimeter. If it's a 3D shape, it can be get volume. But now let's just create one class called circle. And this class has one item, which is double radius here, one data member. And this class extends shape. That's it, خلاص. Now let me just make setter and getter for the radius, and now we need to create what? We need to create a constructor, and the constructor is very simple since there is no constructor in the superclass, it's only default. Now we need to override a method, and the method here is called what? Get area. So this is the method that I will execute differently in many ways in the subclasses. So in the class, and I'll just copy paste it here in the class, and I always tell you use override to tell your computer that this is an overridden method from my superclass. The area of a circle will be math.py times math.power and radius square. That's it. So we will return the area of a circle. Quickly, I will make a class here called rectangle. I can also make a square, and let me make a square. Okay, and a square has private double side, and let me just set the setter and getter for side, and here say extends shape, and this shape is gonna override also which method? I'm gonna override the get area method the same way I did in what? In circle, and here the area will be return side times side, and that's it. So this is the area of a square. I can also make a new class. Let's make a triangle here, and the triangle again has two data members, private double base and private double height. And here we will generate setters and getters. That's it. And extends the superclass, and the superclass is shape, and that's it. We need to override now the which method? The method that we said we're gonna use polymorphism with, and here this is gonna be 0.5 times this dot get base times this dot get height. That's it. So now the method that is being overridden is the method that's going to achieve polymorphism, because the calculations and the executions and the way the task is executed or handled is totally different. Let me go to the shape class here. I will provide public string to string, and this method I'll not override, but I will try to do it or use it in a benefit from it here. Let us say I will return class dot get this dot get class name. I believe this dot get what? Class get simple class name. So this is one. Why I need this? This method will run and it will get the class name. صحيح انه it's running in the superclass. However, if it's running inside or being used by a subclass, it will tell you I'm a circle or I am a square or I am a triangle. Plus, let's say area, and بس خلاص I need the area. Plus this dot get area. So now it will give you the shape name and the area. So now let's quickly do a tester here. There is a tester. Okay, main method, shape test. Good, and shape test, I added a space, don't know why. Okay, shape test, finish. Okay, quickly, I'll add array list, shapes. Okay, array list, shapes, okay, of shape. Array list name is shapes is equal to new array list of shape. And that's it. Just need to import. And now I have an array list. Now, see what I'm going to add. I'm going to add a circle. I'm going to add a square. I'm going to add a triangle. They are all shapes. And this is polymorphism. The array list is of superclass type, but the contents can be of any shape. Means any shape or any subclass of shape. So now I can say shapes dot add new circle, which is also a shape, and this is the radius. That's it. I will say also shapes dot add a new shape, new square. The square needs only one side, so it's going to be 4. That's it. So now I have two things here in the array list. Let us see here, square. I usually misspell square, but let me see here. I did not create a constructor to square, so let me just say generate constructor using fields, and that's it. So now it's going to work fine, hopefully, yes. And finally, shapes. So dot add new is the one, a new triangle, which needs 2 attributes, triangle, and here I'll give 3 and 6. So now we have 3 subshapes. 3 subshapes. Did I add a constructor to the triangle? No, I didn't do that. So let me just say generate constructor using field, base and height, and hopefully now all problems disappear. Now let's see one thing now. Look at this. For shape S in shapes, I'll just output it. Sysout S. Now S is going to print, or is going to use what? Is going to use the toString. The toString is only available in the superclass. So all the subclasses will reuse it without any modifications. However, if you look at the shape of the superclass here, it uses class name and get area. طيب, which class name? Whatever class name you are running. So it's going to be the subclass name if it's a subclass, the superclass if it's a superclass. طيب, get area. When you say this get area, is it going to return 0? لا, is not going to return 0. Get area is a method that has been overridden sometimes in the subclasses. If this method has been overridden in a subclass, it will call the method of the subclass. So although this code is available in the superclass, كل مرة راح يجيب subclass name and the get area of the subclass. And this is called binding. At runtime, when we run, we don't know, before we run this code, we don't know which method we're going to call. Are we going to call the get area of the shape or get area of square? We only know this at runtime. Binding means which method to call and how it's going to work. Let us go and run this. Okay, it seems none of them is what? None of them is what? It didn't work here. Let us see. I need to save. This is a shape, and this matlig string to string. Tamam. And let us see what we missed here. Public string, what? To string. Okay, return this plus area. I really don't see a problem when I print it because it's extends shape and the method is public. So I think I just need, I don't see any problem, however. So it should tell us something else. And override get area here. Okay, to string, I did not call it to string. Let me see here. Shape test. Let me make sure I just give it the right name. Public string to string. Okay, return this good class area and plus area. Save all. I still don't see. Okay, I really don't know what happened, but most probably I misspelled the word to string. You know, the toString has been inherited from the super grandparent of all classes, which is the object. So now when I run it, look at it, how things work. It tells you circle. This is a class name, if you recall. Square, triangle, area. And then which method is called? The method of the subclass. Wow. We are calling one method, even here, in the shape superclass, we are calling one method, but every time this method executed in a different way. So this is called polymorphism, one way of multiple ways of executing the same task. So the get area method will be executed from the subclasses. And let's go back to the tester here. I'll just remind you with one thing that has already been explained in the class, which is if sometimes want to do something that exists only in certain subclasses. So in this way, you need to do some kind of casting. So for example, if I tell you double the size of the radius of all circles, then you cannot do this without testing if the subclass is a circle. We know they are all shapes, but how to know if it's a circle? So let me see. I just want you to, I'll add one more circle here in the beginning. So now here I'll add another circle, 4.5. So we have two circles run. As you see, we have two circles. Now I want you to double the size of the radius of only the circles. So you can go here for shape, S in shapes. That's fine. Now you need to check if it's a circle. If this is the point, if S instance of circle. So this is a very important question you will be asking because you will use the set radius method. The set radius method is not available in all shapes. It's only available in the circle. So here, let us say s dot set radius, and look here, there has been some kind of casting automatically. I didn't do this. This has been done by Eclipse, but I still prefer the classic way. I will say circle C is equal to circle, this is casting S, and now C dot set radius, C dot get radius times 2. So now I will double the size of all the circles, only circles. I cannot call the set radius method before casting the shape because I can only call methods that are available in the superclass. كيف؟ ما هو الارray اللي عندي is an array of shapes. It's not an array of circles. يعني you can call methods that only available in the superclass or overridden by the subclass. But set radius is not. So if you want to use such a method, you need to use what? Instance of, to make sure that the subclass of a certain type cast the subclass and then do this changes, whatever changes you want to do. So now I will go and output everything after the for loop to show you that the area of circles have been doubled, or the radius. As you see here, we did this for the radius. Tamam. So that's it here. We have a simple example, straightforward. Shape is a superclass. One method has been overridden. Another method is being inherited without being overridden. Remember, toString has not been overridden. It's just being inherited automatically. But getArea has been overridden and re-implemented by all subclasses. Let's go back to theory contents now here. Let's look at this polymorphism example. We have a class called animal, and this animal has one attribute, which is name, and one method is talk. So animal is a superclass here. Tamam. We have cat. The name is cat, and there is a method called talk, and it's going to be meow. Huh? And we have a dog here. The name is dog, and the talk is going to be some kind of barking. And we have a bulldog, which certainly is going to be a different way of what. This is a subclass of dog also. So now we can create an array of animals or array list of animals. And the method that's going to be overridden in the subclasses clearly is going to be talk. So whatever subclass you have, so the method is going to be a superclass and the subclasses will override it. Now let's go to some theory concepts. Animal array containing references objects of the various animal subclasses. بس نوعه of a superclass. We can loop through the animals and call the method talk. Now if you call the method talk the same way we did with getArea, it will call the method that has been implemented in the subclasses. If there is no implementation, it will call the one implemented in what? In the superclass. So this is what we call with what we mean with polymorphism. Quickly, I'll create that animal and class animal, and here I will say private string name and public, and the method is gonna be public void talk. So if it's an animal, I'll just say sys out. Okay, no, not synchronized. Wait, sys out. Okay, let me just say sys out animal talking. This is very generic method, and the word generic will come back to it. Let me just make a toString here and public string toString and return I will again say this dot get class, get simple class name, simple name plus, let us say plus space, and then say animal, and let me just do setter and getter. Okay, for name only we have setter and getter, get name and set name. I'll just bring them here, and here I say this dot just get name and plus, okay, okay, plus uh, my sound is, and I will call which method plus this dot get what? Talk, the method talk. Okay, so it will call the method talk, and hopefully here plus sign, and I believe return this plus plus plus, okay, get name plus, and here is the problem. Plus, let me see, correct the code. Return this simple class name. Oh, okay. The talk method here is the problem because it's void method. So I can say here return animal. I'll return a string, I prefer. Okay, string. So this method returns a animal talking. This method returns a string now. Good. So I believe return animal, and I just need to make this what string. Okay, even if there is a simple one, now I'm gonna make a cat بسرعة, cat, and before I do cat, I'll go to the animal and make a constructor for the animal. This is gonna help us a lot. Generate constructor using field only takes a name. So now for the cat, nothing is new. Extends what? Extends animal, and this is gonna be, of course, I need to add that constructor. Okay, super name, and the name of the cat is gonna be cat. I can make it hard coded, by the way. يعني I don't have to, if it's a cat, I can call the super with what? With cat. But now the name of the animal will be cat. However, now public, okay, string talk, this is the one I'm gonna override, and to always be in the safe side, use override, so that, okay, now override here, and talk method, let us say return meow. Okay, return, that's it. So now the talk method has been overridden in the subclass. So quickly I'll create a dog class, and that's it. Class dog, and also for this one I'll say extends animal, and of course they need me to provide a constructor, and here I also can do what? I can override the, no need even, if it's hard coded, this is just a simple example. I'll go to the cat here, override the talk of the super class, and let us say what was the sound of the dog here. This is once arf arf. Tamam. Okay, this is now is gonna be, that's it. So now I can create a list or array list of class. I'll say animal test, and I'll create quickly an array list of animals. So here array list or array, doesn't matter, but it's easier for me to create array of animal. I'll call it animals equals new array list of animal, and that's it. Now we have array list, That's it. Now we can say animals dot add new animal, which is the superclass. That's fine. بس خلاص. It's gonna take the animal here. And maybe the constructor of the animal needs a name, huh? This is the animal here. Yeah, there is a constructor. Okay. Animal, I'll call it tamam. Then I have animals dot add new cat. And there is nothing to add because I made some hard-coded code, right? Animals dot add new dog. And now that's it. خلاص. New dog. Let us just make sure. Okay, new dog. Okay, here. And that's it. Of course, yani, if you create a dog like this, dog D is equal new dog, it's an animal now, remember. So D dot talk. Okay, and if you output D dot talk, okay, that's it. And it will call the overridden method from the subclass. Let's just show you this. Make sure you know that arf, right? So now no need for this example because now for I can say animal superclass reference in an array of animals and just sys out. Why I'm using sys out a? Because in the toString I use all the methods I want to test. Yani in the toStrings, guys, I'm using the get simple name, so it returns the actual class name, the get name, and the sound, and calls the talk method. Yani you don't have to always print it, but yani now I'm showing you that we call it, and now خلاص here. Animal sound is animal talking, cat my sound is, and dog. This is the class name, by the way. It has been twice printed by the toString. So if I want to just go to animal test or animal and remove the get simple name, which is fine because we already have a animal name. So now if I go here to animal test, so animal, my sound is, and that's it. One final time, my sound is, and here. That's خلاص. Now animal test, and again, this is polymorphism. Polymorphism with the simplest form, just having one method, but each method is implemented in a different way in the subclasses. And let's see here, continue with the animal. So this is animal sound. I did it a bit differently, but it's the same thing. Superclass animal has a method called animal sound. Subclass animals can be cat, dogs, and I believe what we did is exactly the same with minor differences. So if the reference variable of the parent class refers to the object of a class, it's known as upcasting. إيش يعني upcasting؟ يعني if the reference variable of parent class refers to the object of a child class, this is called what? Casting. شوف example. Class A. Class B extends A. يعني هو هلا which one is super class A? Which one is subclass B? طيب A على الشمال super class new B زي ما عملنا. تمام. يعني animal new dog, shape new circle. So if the left side is a superclass, the right side is a subclass, this is called what? Upcasting. And this is very useful because we can now have a unified way of running the code, even designing the code. You will understand this more with abstraction and interfaces and يعني polymorphism. The reference variable A can access, now this is the point that where many students and learners really miss it. The reference variable A, احنا سميناها animal, right? And then we said cat, سميناها shape, and then we said new circle. Good? So the reference variable A or S can access all the methods in the what? and the variables of the superclass because it's a subclass. However, but only what? Overridden methods of the child class B. يعني get area and animal sound, we could access them because they were overridden, and we can access anything in the superclass and anything overridden in the subclass. That's it. طب شو القصة هاي؟ قصة ممتازة. We can design software in a very uniform way. Since a method invocation is defined by the Java virtual machine, not the compiler. Compiler ما بيعرف are you gonna call the animal sound of the animal class or the animal sound of the cat. And the compiler ما بيعرف قبل runtime. Once you start running the program, the Java virtual machine will figure out which method to call. Are we going to call the animal sound or get area from the superclasses, or we are going to call the one that has been overridden in the subclasses? So this is known as a runtime polymorphism. Yani we don't know until we run the code, because it depends on what are your choices when you run the code, which classes you created, and. So here, let's see another upcasting example, class bike. So bike is a class. Splendor is a subclass of bike. It has a method called what? Run. So it seems run has what? Has overridden the method what? Of the superclass. So now, this is a subclass, this is a superclass. So bike, new splendor. تمام. على اليسار super class, على اليمين what? Subclass. This is called what then? Upcasting. Now, if you call b.run, b is a new splendor, is not a bike. The reference was to a superclass. If you call run now, which run will be called? Since b is a splendor, it will see if the splendor has overridden the run method of the superclass, it will call the run method of the splendor. If it did not, it will call the run method of the superclass. بس خلاص. If the method has been overridden in the subclass, it will call it. Otherwise, it will call the one in the subclass. Like toString. We did not override toString in the previous two examples. صحيح? We did not override it, but we have overridden animal sound and get area. So the one that has not been overridden will still be used as it is from the superclass. Tamam. So another example of polymorphism runtime. This is a bank. Okay, one method, get deposit time. SBI extends bank, get deposit time. ICS extends bank. All of those things are what? Are subclasses of the bank class. All of them have overridden the method and they return their own values. So on the left side, bank, which is superclass. In new SBI, SBI is a subclass. So now SBI can call all the attributes of the superclass, all the methods of the superclass, and the what? The methods that have been overridden in the subclass. So now the output should be clear here. If you call this one B, get deposit time, it will call the get deposit time of SBI Bank. And if you call this ICIC, it will call it from here. So this is polymorphism. So Java runtime polymorphism with data member. And this is, yeah, and it takes a lot of time to convince the students not to use variables directly. And we always tell them use methods. And this is one example. Java runtime with polymorphism with data members. A method is overridden. However, data members are not. So runtime polymorphism cannot be achieved by data member. Good? يعني, if you are trying to get a data member overridden, is not going to work. Only methods can be overridden. In this example, شوفوا معنا example is called what? Speed limit. طيب, this is a bike. Then we have a class called Honda extends bike. تمام. It's a subclass. هون عمل variable has created a new member called what? Speed limit. By the way, this is not overridden. This is not going to be what? Overriding the data member. يعني the output will be 90. You know why? Because bike is a new Honda. And if you say object.speed limit, let's go. I like this example because it takes me really long times, always long times to convince students to do this. Keep using the methods, okay? Let's see bike here. بس خلاص هيو. This is a bike, صح؟ تمام. Let me go. Okay, let me just make it public عشان ما okay. Now you see you have it public. So what's the other method here? Honda. Class Honda extends bike. تمام. So class Honda extends bike, and I believe I just need to. So here you think, خلينا نشوف هون. Let us just make this public يا شباب. Public. So public will do some here. Now there are no errors. So I'll go to the superclass. I'll provide a method. Public void drive me, okay? Drive me. This is a method, tamam? I'll just provide a method to the superclass, and the method will be what? Drive me. So we have one data member, and drive me, I'm just gonna be sys out driving a bike, tamam? Driving a bike. Good. Now I'll go to the Honda bike. I will override which method? Drive me. So let us see here, show you public void drive me. And now let us say sys out. And by the way, my first bike was a Honda bike, yeah. Almost 40 years ago. No, 35 years ago. Okay, driving a Honda bike. Okay, good. So now this method is going to be driving a Honda bike. Type. Now the subclass, you created a variable named what? Speed limit. And there's a variable with the same name in the superclass. But this means nothing. This is not override. This is not override. And I'll show you this. Okay, here I'll say I'm driving a Honda bike, my speed limit. Okay, and here I will use speed limit. I will use what? Speed limit. And where is the bike? Here. And I will go here. My speed limit. Okay. Equals or plus speed limit. Good. Now I'll go to car tester or bike tester. Bike test. Okay. And I'll create just one Honda. Okay. Okay. Now let's say bike B equals new bike. Okay. And bike BH equals new Honda. And let's see what happens here. And B dot drive me and BH dot drive me. And let's see the output. Okay. Driving a bike, my speed limit is 90. This is come from where? This is come from the bike. Driving a Honda bike, this came from high. My speed limit is what? 150. طيب. هلا the speed limit is 150 because I used it in the what? In the Honda. So now look at this now. If it's not being used here, okay, driving a Honda bike, tamam. So now I can say here, I can go to the superclass. The speed limit is, okay, كويس هيك. I'll take this one here. تمام. Okay, driving a bike, my speed limit is, so I'll just use my speed limit is, and in the Honda, I will say sys out I'll call super dot drive me and then output something. I'll call super and then print. So now system.out.println. So super bright. Okay, this is it. So my speed limit is what? Is 90. يعني, although you have overridden this, but it still is using the one in the super. طبعا, if you use it again like this directly, this is fine. This is called shadowing, not overriding. تمام. But however, here a bike, okay, يعني if this is going to be this dot get class dot get simple name, this is very useful, plus look at this one now, the output here. Oh, bike test now. Nice. Bike has been okay. Now Honda's working fine. My speed, okay, but speed limit is not. However, if you want the speed limit to be overridden, that's it, huh? You can just make a method, and the method, call it public integer dot get what? Get, I leave the speed limit حتى هو. Okay, public integer get speed limit, and you can override this speed limit. Now will return what? Return whatever value. You can return a value or just create what? Return speed limit. Okay, now we can return a speed limit, and I prefer here you say this dot get what? Speed limit. ماشي. However, you can say this is private. You can have set speed limit, get speed limit. So now we can say source generate setter and getter. We already have setter. So set speed limit. Okay, صار عندنا dual things here. So set speed limit. So now much better. Now for the Honda bike to do what? Don't do it this way. Just go ahead and for the Honda bike here in the runtime, you can say, if it's a Honda, you want to do something, you can make it in the constructor. تمام? يعني you can say generate constructor using fields. If it's a Honda, تمام? Here, let me see, public static Honda. Generate constructor from superclass because there are no fields. You can say this dot set speed limit 150, and that's it. Now methods have been overridden and methods are working, not data members directly. So let us test this bike. Perfect. Here we have Honda, a method get class name has been reused, and bike from superclass, and always use methods. Don't use the values directly. And this is simply what we call polymorphism. And this is Java runtime polymorphism. And let us just finish with one simple example. Static binding versus dynamic binding. What do we mean by static binding and dynamic binding? Static binding is we know before we run. Dynamic binding only will know at runtime which methods will be used. So which method will be used? Are you going to use the method of circle or the method of shape? Are you going to use the method of cylinder or the method of cube? You get that? Which method? Static binding is known as early binding. We know it before we run. Dynamic binding, no, it's known as late binding. ما بنعرف انت, are you going to put subclasses in the array or no? Are you going to put circles or only rectangles? We don't know. So it depends on what you put, what you add in those things. So when a type of object is determined as compile time by the compiler, this is known as what? Static binding. وانت لو كنت قايل له circle equals new circle هو راح يعرف انه you're gonna call the circle method. بس لما يكونوا هم members في super class array وانت على اليسار بتقول له shape is equal to new circle وshape is equal to new rectangle وshape is equal to this and that, we don't know what you're going to say at runtime. It depends. So only at runtime we will know which subclass methods are going to be invoked or called or executed. Let us see this here. Examples of static and dynamic binding. شوفوا معنا, this is static ببساطة شديدة, very simple. يعني ما تستغربوا. Dog D1 equals new dog بس. In the previous examples I did not say that. Every time I was saying shape is equals to new circle, animal is equal new dog, vehicle is equal to new bike, whatever. So the left side was superclass, the right side was subclass. So this is a static. خلاص واضحة. We know before we run this is a dog and we run with dog. However, if you look at this animal D1, يا سلام. طب which animal subclass you're gonna call? يعني which animal subclass you're gonna use? Because there are so many animal subclasses. تمام. We know it's animal, but since animal has many subclasses and you can instantiate it, upcasting, so we don't know which one you're going to create. So we need to be patient until we run, and then Java virtual machine is going to decide which is this. The instance of operator, I explained it with the example in a set radius of a circle. Make sure first you check with instance of, then do the right casting, and then call the method. This is another example here of cats. We did the example of what